Krishna, welcome to the summary of Chapter 7, Jnana Vijnana Yoga, or the knowledge of the Absolute. We covered this in detail in our Bhagavad Gita class at Slav Hindu Temple this Sunday. Before we jump on to Chapter 7, let's look at what happened in the previous chapter and why Sri Krishna Paramatma is teaching Jnana Vijnana Yoga. He's a very methodical teacher, and as we learned last time, he slowly builds up the class. He slowly builds up the concept. He doesn't start off all of a sudden, but he gradually builds up spiritual concepts. In the Dhyana Yoga, he mentioned one has to steady one's mind and keep thoughts in steady state. There shouldn't be any fluctuations in the mind. Just like an example, if you remember, of two diyas we did in our class. One diya we kept near the window and one away from the window. One away from the window remains steady because that is away from all the distractions, and that is what dhyana is meant for. And you can keep the steady mind by abhyasa and vairagya, by practice and detachment. Krishna ended last chapter glorifying Bhakti Yoga, where he said in the last shloka, Shraddhavan bhajte omam, that person with faith who abides in me and render devotional service unto me is very, very dear to me. There is a saying in Hindi, Jane binu nahi hoye partiti. Partiti means understanding. Bin partiti hoye nahi priti. Priti means love. Now, to have faith on someone, we should have a knowledge of that someone. And once we have the knowledge, then we can love that someone. So, Krishna is giving that knowledge in chapter 7 and actually all the subsequent chapters until chapter 17. Until chapter 12. So 7 to 12 will cover Bhakti Yoga. These are the important chapters of Bhagavad Gita, and various acharyas have said that the actual substance of Bhagavad Gita are the middle 6 chapters. So to get the knowledge requires intelligent research and information gathering. It is an affair of a head and the heart. So this takes us nicely onto the acronym of this chapter. It is head, hearing, everywhere, accept or reject, demigods. Hearing. So in this section, Krishna is telling the importance of the knowledge he's going to give. He said, Jnanam. He's going to speak about his material and spiritual energy. Vijnanam. He's going to speak about his own Swarupa. And after knowing all this, you don't need anything else to be known. Then he talks about how rare it is to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In shloka number 3, Krishna is saying, there are thousands of human beings. Out of that, few endeavor for success. Out of that, few attain success or perfection. And from those who attains perfection, hardly one person knows me in truth. So this is how rare it is to know Lord Sri Krishna. So Krishna started this chapter by stressing the absolute necessity of hearing from spiritual sources to understand universal realities. This is known as the descending path of knowledge. Everywhere. Verses 4 to 12. In this section, Krishna is giving his own knowledge. Here Krishna is talking about his own energies. In shloka number 4, Krishna talks about 8 separated energies, which is earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. These are 8 separated energies of the Lord. These are basically the material energies. In shloka number 5, Krishna is saying that there is a superior energy of mind. Who are they? The living entities. What are they doing? The superior energy is trying to influence the inferior material energy. So in shloka number 4 and 5, Krishna is talking about superior and inferior energies. Moving ahead, in shloka number 6 and 7, Krishna is talking about how he is the maintainer. Here Krishna mentioned how he is the origin, that is the Prabhava, and how he is the destroyer as well, that is Pralaya. In shloka number 7, Krishna makes an explicit point that he is the maintainer. And in this shloka, he also clears how he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He also said there is no one superior to me, O Arjuna. Matta paratat nanyat. There is no one superior to me, O Arjuna. That is the statement Krishna made, that I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead and I am the maintainer of everyone. He gives an analogy here. I hope you remember this. It's like pearls strung on a thread. Pearls are lying on a thread. Similarly, this entire creation is actually lying on Krishna. Basically, Krishna is maintaining everyone. So he's the creator, maintainer, and destroyer. After this, Krishna is talking about how he is the essence of everything. We understand he's the cause of everything, but along with that, how he is the essence of everything. From 8 to 12 shlokas, Krishna is talking about this. First he said, I am the taste in water. I am the light in the sun and moon. I am the Omkara in all the Vedic hymns. I am the sound in ether. I am the strength in man. I am the original fragrance of earth. I am the heat and fire. I am the life of all that lives. I am the penance of all the austerities. I am the original seed of all existence. I am the intelligence of all the intelligent. I am the province of all the powerful men. I am the strength of strong, and I am the sex life which is not contradicted to the religious principles. I am everything in one sense, but then I am independent. He is a creator of 3 modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, but then he's not under them. And that's what we covered in everywhere section. Accept or reject. In this section, Krishna is talking about surrendering on to him. Initially, he describes how each and every living entity living in the world is in the clutches of these 3 modes of material nature. They are bound by the 3 modes of material nature. And then he goes on to say in shloka number 14, all these 3 modes of material nature, that energy you are seeing, basically they are my energy. And you, Arjuna, it is very difficult to cross them. So what is the way out? Just surrender unto me and I will take care. I will make sure you cross these 3 modes of material nature, this Bhavasaga. So this is a solution that Krishna gave in shloka number 14. In 15, Krishna is talking about 4 categories of people who surrender unto him. What are they? Artho, the one who are distressed. Jigyasu, the inquisitive ones. Artharthi, the one who need some material gain. And Jnani, the one who is in search of absolute truth, And then he talks about there are 4 categories of people who don't surrender unto Krishna. Who are they? Mudha, the grossly foolish ones. Naradhama, lowest of mankind. Mayaha pratigyanaha, the one whose knowledge is stolen by illusionary potency of the Lord. And Asuram Bhav Mashuta, who are openly atheist. Krishna is saying these 4 categories can never surrender unto me. So in this way, he spoke about 4 categories who surrender and 4 categories who don't surrender. And at the end, Krishna is saying, out of the 4 categories who surrender unto me, they're all nice, they're all magnanimous. But the jnanis, the one who don't have any material desire and have full knowledge of me, such a person is very, very dear to me. And in shloka number 17, Krishna is making a very, very important point that jnanis is very, very dear to me. He's rare, but then after many, many lifetimes, such a person in knowledge actually surrenders onto me and becomes a nice devotee. So he makes a point that pure devotee is even more rare as compared to the person in knowledge, jnanis. Last section, demigods. In this section, Krishna is talking about demigod worshippers and impersonalism. Here Krishna is saying how demigod worshippers are less intelligent. Why? Because their intelligence is stolen by material desire. And then Krishna said, I am the one who gives faith to the worshipper to worship a particular demigod. And I am the one who empowers the demigod to give the benediction. Or I am the one who gives benediction through the demigods. So in summary, I am the one who gives faith to the worshipper to worship the demigod. And I am the one who gives benediction through demigods to the worshipper. So Krishna is there on both sides. In shloka number 23, he says, men with small intelligence, they are the ones who worship demigods. Why? Because demigods are temporary. Demigods' planets are temporary. And the person who is worshipping the demigod is temporary. And the results given by demigods to the worshipper are also temporary. So aspiring for something which is temporary, only a less intelligent person can do. And that is the point that Krishna has made. He also said that the worshipper of demigod goes to the planet of demigods, which is temporary. But the worshipper of Krishna goes to the planet of Krishna, which is permanent. Well, this is, to be honest, very difficult sometimes for so many people to digest. Let me tell you a story. One time, one man goes into a taxi in London. He calls the taxi driver, take me to the Heathrow airport. So the taxi driver begins to drive. This man in the back, he knew London roads a little bit, and he knew where he is going. They got stuck in a traffic jam, and then it opened up again, and they were driving. The man at the back, the passenger, felt that there is a quicker way. So from the back, he just taps the man on the shoulder. He just taps the taxi driver on the shoulder. As soon as he taps him on the shoulder, the taxi driver starts screaming, shouting. He nearly crashed the car into another lane. He was going crazy. This man says, calm down, relax, relax. And finally, they pulled over the car to the side. So the taxi driver turned back. And the passenger said, what happened? I was just tapping you at the back to give you some direction. The taxi driver said, I'm very sorry. This is my first week as a taxi driver. For the last 20 years, I've been driving a funeral car. If you are in a funeral car and someone stabs you at the back, it'll give you a little anxiety. So it was nothing amazing about tapping him on the back, but it was just straightforward. But because he was doing something for so many years, it became very difficult. So similarly, those who are following Vedic traditions, sometimes they are doing something for many years. My mother did it, my grandmother did it, and her grandmother did it. And now you're telling me to change? So it becomes very difficult. If you read Gita, then everything becomes clear. Krishna says we should honor everyone. But Krishna said there is one God, and that God is Krishna. So towards the end, Krishna is taking us from delusion by Maya to devotion of Krishna. At the very end, Krishna is talking about himself, how he is Adi Bhuta, Adi Deva, Adi Yajna, and how at the time of death, anyone who remembers him goes back to him. But Krishna never elaborated this Adi Bhuta, Adi Deva, Adi Yajna, because he will elaborate this in the next chapter, chapter number 8. So in this way, Krishna has completed this chapter. These 30 verses actually brings a lot of transformation in the life of a reader or listener, if it is heard and read very, very attentively. Lots of things Krishna have mentioned about himself. And just by knowing about Krishna and associating with Krishna, who is all pure, we will also get purified. So this particular chapter, chapter number 7, which is the first chapter of Bhakti Yoga section, is very, very important because it sets the platform to understand the future chapters. So let's see chapter number 8 in my next video. Hare Krishna.